Ever thought about going solar, but then you start looking into it and wow, it just seems so complicated, right? Well, it really doesn't have to be. Today, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a clear, step-by-step playbook for taking your home solar. Let's dive in.
I mean, think about it. The core idea is incredibly powerful. That roof over your head, right now, it's just sitting there. But it could be its own little power plant, generating clean electricity for everything inside your home. Your TV, your kitchen, your computer, all powered by the sun.
So, the big question is, could your roof actually power your life? For a lot of people, the answer is a huge yes. And it's about way more than just electricity. We're talking about slashing your bills, getting some real energy independence, and seriously shrinking your carbon footprint.
We're going to break this whole thing down into 4 simple plays. First, we'll draft the blueprint. Then we'll open up the toolbox to get our gear. After that, it's time for the build. And finally, the best part, we'll figure out the payoff. All right, first up, the blueprint. This is, without a doubt, the most important part, the planning phase. Seriously, just like with any big project, doing a little bit of homework right now is going to save you a ton of headaches and money later on. So what's in this blueprint? Well, it's basically 3 things. First, you've got to audit your energy use. The easiest way to do this, just grab your last 12 electricity bills and figure out your average monthly consumption. Easy enough. Second, you need to assess your location. I mean, does your roof get good direct sunlight, especially during the middle of the day? And third, you'll take all that info to figure out the perfect system size for your house and, of course, your budget.
Now, here's a term you're going to hear a lot: peak sun hours. And it can be a little confusing because it's not actually about how many hours the sun is shining. It's really a measure of the intensity of that sunlight where you live. Think of it like this. It tells you how many hours per day your panels will be working at their absolute maximum power. And getting this number right is key to figuring out how much energy you'll actually produce.
Okay, so our blueprint is done. Now we can move on to step 2, the toolbox. We know what we need, so let's pick out the right tech for the job.
So here's the basic setup. It's pretty straightforward. You've got the solar panels on your roof, right? They capture DC electricity from the sun. That power then travels to a solar inverter, which is kind of the brain of the whole operation. The inverter's job is to convert that DC power into the AC electricity that your house actually uses. From there, it goes to your outlets, your appliances, and hey, if you make any extra, it gets sent right out to the grid. So yeah, the 2 most important tools in your toolbox are the solar panels themselves, the collectors, and that inverter, the brain that does all the converting. Getting these 2 things right, it's absolutely critical for your system's performance. But what about the big question, the one a lot of people have? What if your roof has shade? A big tree, a chimney. Does that kill the whole project? No way, not at all. It just means we need to be a little smarter about the technology we choose. And that brings us to a really big decision: string inverters versus microinverters. Okay, so with a traditional string inverter, all your panels are linked together in a chain. It's like old school Christmas lights. If one panel gets shaded, it drags down the performance of the entire string. It's a classic weakest link problem. But with microinverters, each panel gets its own little personal inverter. That means every single panel works independently, cranking out as much power as it can. They do cost a bit more upfront, but if you've got any kind of shading on your roof, microinverters are an absolute game changer. All right, we've got our plan, we've picked our tools. Now it's time for step 3, the build. This is where it all starts to feel real. We're talking about the actual installation and all the paperwork that goes with it. And the first big question here is, do you DIY it or do you hire a pro? Look, a DIY install can save you thousands of dollars, for sure. If you're comfortable working up on your roof and you know a little bit about electrical stuff, it's definitely a manageable project. The trade-off, of course, is that a professional handles everything: the design, the permits, the labor, and that peace of mind can be well worth the cost. I love this quote. It frames the DIY option perfectly. Think of DIY solar panels as the IKEA of solar power technology. And it's so true. Modern kits are just like that. They come with these super detailed step-by-step instructions. I mean, if you can follow a diagram to build a bookshelf, you probably have what it takes to tackle this. Okay, now listen up, because whether you go DIY or hire someone, there are 3 absolute non-negotiables. First, you need a building permit from your local authority. This makes sure everything is structurally sound and electrically safe. Second, you need an interconnection agreement with your utility company. That's basically the contract that lets you connect to their grid. And third, a final inspection. This is the last safety check before you power anything on. You cannot skip these steps. They are absolutely critical to make sure your system is safe, legal, and ready to go.
And that brings us to the best part, my favorite part. Step 4, the payoff. All the planning and building is done. It's time to sit back and reap the rewards.
So after your system passes that final inspection, the utility company gives you what's called permission to operate, or PTO. That's it. That's the official green light you've been working for. You can finally go flip that switch and start making your own clean power.
And the payoff isn't just a smaller bell, which is great, don't get me wrong, but modern systems also let you monitor everything in real time on your phone. You can see exactly how much energy you're producing versus how much you're using. Trust me, there is nothing more satisfying than watching your meter literally spin backward on a sunny afternoon. And it gets even better. You can actually get paid for the extra power you generate. Through programs often called a clean export guarantee, your utility will pay you for any extra electricity you send back to their grid. So you're not just saving money anymore, you're earning it. So what's the bottom line? Let's talk numbers. This one is pretty amazing. The typical payback period for a home solar system right now is about 3.5 years. That's it. That number has dropped like a rock, thanks to panel costs going down and, well, regular energy prices going up. After those few years are up, the electricity you generate for the next 20-25 years is pretty much free. So let's just recap the playbook here. Yeah, it can seem like a huge project, but when you break it down into these steps, from the blueprint to the build, going solar is a completely achievable home project. It's a way to turn a part of your house that literally just sits there into a real power-generating, money-saving asset. So I'll just leave you with this. Every single year, your roof gets blasted with thousands of hours of free, clean fuel from the sun. The only question left is, are you ready to use it?